Hello, this is Zahirul. Welcome you on Frankly Speaking. My guest today is Ratana wadee. She is the Thailand chairperson at the Asia Injury Prevention Foundation. This foundation is an organization, international NGO promoting road safety, and she's working there. Prior to that, she was the country director of the organization in Thailand. She has also worked as consultant for different multilateral and bilateral development programs in developing countries, also working for Danish Transport Ministry. We welcome Ratana wadee on Frankly Speaking. Welcome.
My pleasure.
Yeah,
Zahirul.
nice meeting you, and
nice meeting you.
Very delighted to have you on the show.
Likewise. Thank you.
But I'm really feeling sad because when we're talking about or about to talk about the road safety, reckless driving in our country,
right.
in the town, 2 young lives took away
Yes.
by the competing transports who plow the 2 young lives in the city, and the students who are agitating on the streets. It does feel very awful, very sad.
Yes.
And
yes.
I know you are aware about the incident.
Yes. Yes.
But when you talk about, we can talk about the accident statistics, the impact, the present trend, the deterioration. You have been actively involved with this campaign to make road safe for many years. You worked in Thailand, also started working in Copenhagen, in Denmark, Transport Ministry, represented in many platforms in the global arena. During your stay in Bangladesh, you have experienced the situation in Bangladesh. To you, how do you view the situation in Bangladesh? How serious it is in terms of road safety?
Yes. I think it's very serious when you talk about death. Even one death is serious. But in Bangladesh, many studies have been done, particularly WHO. It's already said that here, it revealed that the death here is about 21,000 per year. I mean, that's a lot of lives lost. And that is recorded. I think the number is really actually probably more. And in Bangladesh, the studies also reveal that most of the accident or the crashes that happen on the roads here is really with vehicles and with pedestrians.
Okay.
Like buses and cars, and then pedestrian, which is the group of very vulnerable, but what we call vulnerable road users. So it's very serious. And in this part of the world, in this South Asia, particularly in Bangladesh, the road crashes is the number one cause of death for people between the age of 15 to 29.
Okay.
And it's even the new study has already shown that it is number one cause of death for the age of 10 to 15. So it's like
in this region?
In this region, exactly. So it's really alarmingly disturbing to me, and I'm sure also to you as well.
Yeah, but yes, you're right that more than 85%, worldwide, the number one cause and the people killed in road traffic crashes is estimated globally at around 1.4 million or 1.3 million?
1.34 million people.
1.34 million. Around 50 million injured each year.
Yes.
Globally.
Globally,
but
and exactly.
It's at the same time much more menacing in some of the countries. Do you think that Bangladesh is one of the most vulnerable, most deteriorating trend in terms of road safety and road accidents?
As I mentioned earlier, when we look at road safety, days and age, my campaign, we look at evidence, we look at statistics, we look at data. In order to translate it something concrete and substantial. In Bangladesh, the number of deaths and injuries that are recorded is not that high, actually. It's 17 per 100,000, 17 people per 100,000 population. But I think this number is really under rated.
Okay.
It's not really a real number.
The real figure is not that
I
much
think it's
low.
much higher, actually.
Yeah, much higher.
Much higher, because there's a need to, because I've been working with partners here in Bangladesh and also globally, that in Bangladesh we need to improve the data collecting system.
Yeah.
To get a more realistic number of what actually happening here, you know, how many people actually die on the roads. And my own estimate is probably more than 17.
Probably more.
Probably more.
In Bangladesh.
In
out
Bangladesh.
of in the global figure, out of 1.34 million,
yes,
more than 85% of these casualties and 96% of total deaths, especially child deaths, occur in low and middle income countries.
Yes.
Road traffic deaths are predicted to increase by 83% in low income and middle income countries. So and the decrease by 27% in high income countries. You have experience both in Thailand and also in Denmark, a Scandinavian country. If you compare the developing and middle income countries with the high income countries, I mean, how they have been able to draw so much improvement in the Scandinavian countries or high income countries?
Yes. Very recently, there's a shift in thinking, you know, almost like it is a paradigm shift.
Okay.
Because in developing countries, we are still looking at road crash problems as quite fragmented. You know, we talk about how pedestrians are not following laws and regulations. We are talking about bus drivers speeding, and we're blaming them for carelessness. But in Scandinavian countries, for example, they look at the problem as something more systematic. You know, they look at speed management.
Okay.
They look at the fact that humans make errors. So, and also, it is very crucial when they think of human can make errors, because it affects policy that will come out. It affects the engineering of the roads. It affects how you enforce the law.
Okay.
You know, because when we look at problem, let's say problem in you know, someone die on the road, we'll say, oh, because someone is careless, someone is wrong. It doesn't go very far.
That means no single cause contributes to that dire consequence.
Because road safety is not a responsibility of one person, or it's not caused by one thing.
Okay.
It is many things together. You know, for example, when we look at the incident that just occurred in Dhaka, you know, with the bus slamming over two young lives.
Students.
Exactly, and it was very tragic. You know, of course, the problem that you see is that they drove recklessly.
Yeah.
And then, but that's only a tip of the iceberg. When you look at road safety, you look at, you know, the iceberg also underneath. What is underneath that problem, the manifested problem that you see now?
Okay.
I think it is many things that would involved in this. For example, political will. Is there any substantial guidelines and regulation that would force people to obey the law, right?
Okay.
And then would there be any, of course people would say, yes, Bangladesh has traffic laws and they shouldn't speed, but then so perhaps it's the dysfunction of the regulation then, right? It's not functioning well.
And also the enforcement issue is very critically important.
Exactly.
But we will discuss something more on the underneath issues like political goodwill, the policy, the enforcement. It's not all about the knowledge or compliance of regulations. There are so many other factors are involved with this. But before we are talking about the road safety, there are so many issues that are involved with this. When an accident happens, we used to blame driver. Basically, a driver should be held responsible primarily, apparently, seemingly, but there are other reasons. we can hold responsible pedestrians, owner of the bus company, giving them, I mean, the enforcement issue, road engineering also had an important, critically important issue. Yes. But in your view, I mean, when you talk about the political goodwill to deal with this matter, why it is so important to have a political goodwill in reducing or arresting road accidents or clashes?
Yes. First of all, I just want to retract what you just said about blaming the drivers and things. Of course, we should blame the driver. I think they should have also responsibility, right? A big responsibility, because they carry so many lives and they're responsible for so many people in the bus. But the thing is that what would make them responsible, right? So I think the political will is so important, because the caliber of problem that we have right now, the loss of economically lost, actually 3.6% of GDP that's been lost.
3.6.
3 to 6%.
3 to 6%.
Yeah, depending on where we are, right?
Okay.
And if the political, if decision makers,
it can take out or eat up 3 to 6% growth, total growth.
Yes, exactly.
Out of, I mean, the road accidents.
Exactly.
Oh.
So I think it's very important that there's a political will to tackle the problem, because that's where all the rules and regulations, all the coordination of efforts of all parties involved would originate, right? And then, for example, give very good example of enforcement, for example. I mean, we can say, there should be more enforced, but who would, force that enforcement? I mean, there has to be directive or direction from above to say there must be a law enforcement here, So I think if there's political agenda, for example, in the country, if we recognize, if decision makers recognize that the problem is so serious,
but when the cost is so high, what do you think? Why they don't pay much attention on it?
I think perhaps politicians are not aware that it's so serious and so bad, because Zahirul, are you aware that losses from road crash or the number of people killed on the roads is higher than malaria? People die from malaria, from polio, cholera, AIDS, even some wars. I mean, it's just sort of it is mind-boggling actually to think of, how many people killed on the road. Like in Bangladesh itself, recorded number is 21,000 people.
Per year.
Per year. That is a lot of people,
And
and then now you have economic development, right? I mean, steady economic development. And what comes with that is really more vehicles, more cars, more buses, more motorbikes. And, if the infrastructure is not good enough.
But when the economic loss is so high, and we're in a time talking about the achieving of sustainable development goals, and we know that one of the major goals is to reducing the road accidents to arrest the economic loss. And if the trend prevails, how you expect that the targets or the goals will be achieved?
Yes, I mean, that is the problem, isn't it? Because, Bangladesh has signed up to contribute to sustainable development goal and road safety. We as advocates in the global level and also country level, we advocate hard and long to get road safety in sustainable development goals. And it is in, road safety is in goal number 3, which is half the number of deaths by 2020, which is, really a very ambitious goal. And another goal is goal number 11. SDG 11, that is addressing public transport, for example. It's directly, addressing what's happening here in this country. So I think if we want to make improvement or to reaching for the goals that we have got together as global community, we have to work hard in trying to achieve that. And we need leadership. We need strong leadership to address it, to make this loss from road crashes, loss of lives as political agenda.
But unfortunately, don't you think that road safety definitely is a right? This is not a privilege.
No, of course it's because we have, as a person or population in this in any country, anywhere in the world, we have the right to be safe on the street. Not only people who are in beautiful cars, we as pedestrians, as people in buses, or as motorbike riders, we all, or even kids walking to school, we all have the right to use road safely, to be safe on the road. So I think it is the right, to me, it's the right-based problem, So I think if we realize that.
So if you recognize, if you admit this is a right-based problem and also a campaign, global campaign, what are the instruments, global instruments are there to stand by the governments or the countries who are less compliant or not paying enough attention to reduce or decline, make their roads accidents or happenings declining?
Yes, although the UN has these sustainable development goals, but it's also up to the country itself to implement, whatever.
There is no legally binding.
There's no legal binding, but I think it would be very important that people, in the country, and also people in the country, to realize how serious that is. My experience, and also working in road safety for a long time, we do advocacy for policy change.
Okay.
We are normal. We don't have any political power to affect any change, but we do have our advocacy and intention and create things that make change. For example, right now social media is so powerful. We can look at advocacy in that angle.
But we keep on talking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think it's also very important to be talking strategically. Talking in the sense that something would change. I think the media,
based on a sense of achieving some goals and some objectives.
Exactly. And I think the media is so very important, Zahirul, that I think this country, if you will, I admire very much living here that I see a lot of road safety reports addressed on national newspaper and television. But I think it would be very good and very effective if the media, journalists, think about it a little bit more strategically. The target or what would you like to do with the piece that you're going to put out. It has to be planned.
But what can make us understand the issue that you are putting importance on, that we must see more strategically? We are discussing, we are campaigning or awareing people through discussion or through our reports and everything. But what does it mean by looking at the issue more strategically?
Yes, because first of all, it has to come from deep understanding of how big the problem is that we are facing.
The magnitude
right now.
of the problem.
The magnitude of the problem, exactly. For the politician is with money, right? It could cost Bangladesh maybe, let's say, 4% or 5% of GDP per year. You would tackle, whenever you do the piece on road safety in that, to get attention, maybe that is the issue that they would be interested in.
But it is very hard, very difficult to make the policymakers accountable or motivate on this.
Yes, but I think the media has a very important role. For example, the recent incident with the bus driver running over young children, that maybe the momentum is there to tackle the problem. I don't think we should. It's sad and tragic, but the thing is that it needs to be surfaced, to be tabled, and continue the discussion.
It has to be intensely discussed.
Exactly.
Time to take another break, dear viewers. We are taking another short break. We'll be back right after the commercial. My guest is Ratana Wadee, with the Chairman, Thailand chapter of Asia Injury Prevention Foundation. We have been discussing, and you are talking about the situation in Bangladesh in the context of global experience. I mean, political, making it a political agenda, the policy dysfunction issue, rights of road users, speed management is also very critically important. And but when you are putting so much importance on the political goodwill and enforcement of law, along with enforcement of law, and the magnitude of the difficulties or the seriousness of the issue, I mean, what is urgently needed to tackle this problem,
yes.
to deal with this problem, both I mean, country-wise, like as you have been living in Bangladesh for last couple of years. So for Bangladesh, what are the suggestions you can put forward?
Yes.
And at the same time, globally and regionally,
yes.
what are the actions can be taken to deal with this
yes.
matter?
Starting with Bangladesh, you know, as we mentioned earlier, the problem that is happening now is really caused by speed.
Yeah.
You know, not for everything, but many cases.
Yeah.
Majority actually. Speed of the vehicles. Mm-hmm. So I think it's very important in Bangladesh that we look more closely how to manage speed.
Okay.
Actually, you know, I was just going to share with you a good example that comes out of here, and it has been lesson learned for road safety community globally, actually. There was a study earlier, I think it's in 2015. There's a group of an organization here supported by international organization did a study on lowering speed limits along this Dhaka and Sylhet highway, you know, the corridor. And maybe, I think there's 3 spots that they...
That reduced significantly.
Yeah, actually they have these 3 spots of control, speed control, enforcement, and also, you know, very inexpensive road safety intervention like speed bumps and sign and things. And the study had shown that the people actually, when there's enforcement and there's attention, they lower speed by 13 kilometers per hour, and more importantly, 60% decrease of death rate. In all,
that's remarkable.
Exactly, it's remarkable, and it's already been out in the global community.
And encouraging also.
Exactly, and I think something like this, I think we have to celebrate, and also to use it, you know, as a good lesson learned here in this country. In that it's already, you can do it. I think you can do it if you have the will to do.
Yeah, as I didn't mention earlier that you were the spouse of the Danish ambassador, the outgoing Danish ambassador, Michael Winter, and your presence in the country was very vibrant. You met so many people, you attended so many events in Bangladesh, you made so many friends. So what are the issues impressed you most in Bangladesh, arts, culture, entertainment, or food, cuisine, everything? Yes.
First of all, I'd just like to mention, since we are talking about road safety, I have a privilege to work with some people who are also, you know, in the global community here, advocator, and also, you know, engineers and stuff, and it's really pleasant to be with them here and work with the media like yourself to talk about road safety. I mean, that I really feel good about it. And also, you know, I've been as ambassador's spouse. I have access to many things and got to know so many people. And I have been working with the Fashion Designer Council of Bangladesh to promote khadi. You know, I'm really in love with your khadi. And I have been wearing a lot of clothes made of khadi by designers here. And it's really been a privilege.
You look beautiful in sari also.
Thank you very much. I try, but it's been really a pleasure, because working on issue like this or be involved in something like this, you know, it's really also it's very encouraging, because Denmark also support something like this. My husband is fully support me in engaging having my own interests and lives with, you know, and my interest here in Bangladesh. And I really enjoy meeting people, like normal people on the street, and there's so much humanity, and you know, I love the people here. It's so colorful, so vibrant, and I would love to come back, really.
Thank you, and we'll love to see you more.
Thank you.
Also involved in our road safety issue, and in the days to come, there has to be more partnership, more cooperation between your organization, Asia Injury Prevention Foundation.
Thank you.
And look forward to having more interaction with you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure. Thank you so much. Dear viewers, that was my conversation with Ms. Ratana Wadee Winter, and thank you indeed for watching this episode, and we hope to see you again. Thank you very much. Goodbye.